My birthday was supposed to be perfect, but Dad turned it into a circus with a single, infuriating gift box. At 16, I was ready for the world to take me seriously, not to be the punchline of a family prank. The morning of my 16th birthday, I woke to the smell of pancakes and the sound of my little brother, Timmy, giggling downstairs. I stretched, feeling the weight of the day. 16 was a milestone. It meant freedom. Maybe even the car keys I'd been dreaming of since I aced my learner's permit test. I dropped hints for months, okay? Not hints. Full-on campaigns about the sleek, red convertible I'd seen in the dealership window. Mom had smiled mysteriously every time I mentioned it. And Dad just chuckled and said, "We'll see." Emma. I should have known that chuckle meant trouble. Downstairs, the kitchen was a mess of balloons and streamers. Mom was flipping pancakes, her apron dusted with flour, while Timmy, 8 and full of chaos, was stealing bacon from the plate. Dad sat at the table, sipping coffee, his eyes glinting with that look he got when he was up to something. "Morning, birthday girl," he boomed. "Too cheerful for Ada." I grinned, despite the early hour, because today was my day. "Presents after breakfast," Mom said, sliding a stack of pancakes onto my plate. I nodded, my stomach fluttering. I'd seen the box under the tree in the living room, a large, glossy package with a red bow. The exact size of the car model kit I'd begged for as a backup if the actual car was a stretch. It was perfect. Too perfect. Breakfast dragged. Timmy kept sneaking glances at Dad, who was pretending to read the newspaper but failing to hide his smirk. Mom was the only one acting normal, humming as she cleaned up. Finally, Dad clapped his hands. Time for the main event. He led us to the living room, where the box sat like a trophy. My heart raced. This was it, the moment I'd been waiting for. "Open it." "Emma," Dad said, his voice thick with anticipation. Timmy was practically bouncing, and Mom had her phone out, ready to record. I knelt by the box, my fingers trembling as I untied the bow. The wrapping paper tore away to reveal a sleek, black box with the logo of the dealership I'd been obsessing over. My breath caught. No way. No way. They couldn't have. I lifted the lid, my heart pounding like a drum. Inside was a pair of fuzzy pink slippers. Not just any slippers, cheap. Tacky ones with googly eyes and a tag that read, "One size fits most." I stared, my brain short-circuiting. Timmy burst out laughing, clutching his sides, while Dad's grin stretched ear to ear. "Gotcha," he said, like he just pulled off the heist of the century. I forced a smile, my cheeks burning. "Very funny, Dad." My voice was tight, but I wasn't going to cry in front of them. Not today. I looked at Mom, hoping for a lifeline, but she just gave me a sympathetic smile, like she was in on it but felt a little bad. "There's more," she said softly, nodding at the box. I dug deeper, past the tissue paper, and found a small envelope. My hands shook as I opened it, expecting an apology or maybe a gift card. Instead, it was a handwritten note from Dad to Emma, the best sport. "Happy birthday, no keys, no car, no model kit, just slippers and a note." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "Really? Dad," I said, my voice sharper than I meant. "You put this in the dealership box." I held up the slippers, the googly eyes wobbling mockingly. Timmy was still laughing, and Dad looked like he was about to join him. "Oh, come on, Emma," he said. "It's a classic. You should have seen your face." I wanted to scream. I'd spent months dreaming of that car, picturing myself driving to school, windows down, music blaring. I'd even made a playlist for it. And now, here I was, holding slippers that looked like they belonged in a clown's wardrobe. "This isn't funny," I snapped, tossing the slippers back into the box. "You knew what I wanted." Dad's smile faltered, but only for a second. "Lighten up, kiddo. It's just a joke. You'll get your real gift later." But his tone didn't sound promising. It sounded like he was covering. Mom stepped in, her voice calm but firm. Emma, why don't we take a break? There's cake tonight. I stormed upstairs, ignoring Timmy's giggles and Dad's attempt to call me back. In my room, I slammed the door and flopped onto my bed, staring at the ceiling. 16 was supposed to be special. Instead, it felt like a betrayal. Dad didn't get it. He never did. He thought pranks were bonding, but all they did was make me feel small. The rest of the day was a blur. Friends texted, wishing me a happy birthday, but I couldn't shake the disappointment. At dinner, Mom tried to salvage things with my favorite chocolate cake, but even that felt hollow. Dad kept trying to make me laugh, telling dumb jokes about the slippers, but I just nodded and pushed my food around. Timmy, oblivious, chattered about his new video game, while Mom shot me worried glances. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the moment I opened the box. The way Dad's eyes lit up while mine filled with tears I refused to let fall. Why did he think this was okay? Why did he think humiliating me was funny? I got up and crept downstairs, needing air. In the living room, the box was still there, the slippers spilling out like a taunt. I kicked it, hard, and something rattled inside. Curious, I dug through the tissue paper again. Underneath, tucked in a corner, was a small, plain box I hadn't noticed before. My heart skipped. I opened it, half expecting another prank. But inside was a key, a real car key. Attached was a note in Dad's messy handwriting. Check the garage. Sorry for the scare. Love, Dad. I ran to the garage, my bare feet cold on the floor. There, under a tarp, was a used red convertible, not the exact one I dreamed of, but close enough. I stood there, stunned, my anger melting into something else. Relief, maybe, or guilt for thinking the worst of him. The next morning, I found Dad in the kitchen looking sheepish. You found it? Huh, he said, rubbing the back of his neck. I nodded, still processing. Why the slippers? Dad, why make me think you didn't care? He sighed, setting down his coffee. I thought it'd be funny. Emma, I wanted to make your birthday memorable, not upset you. I guess I misjudged. For the first time, I saw something vulnerable in his eyes. Dad, the king of pranks, looked genuinely sorry. I took a deep breath. It hurt. Dad, I thought you were making fun of me, not just the gift. He nodded, his face serious. I'll do better, he said. No more pranks unless you're in on them. Deal. I smiled. A real one this time. Deal. The rest of the week, I drove that car everywhere, even if it was just to the corner store. It wasn't just about the car, though. It was about Dad trying, in his messy way, to show he cared. I started to see his pranks differently, not as mockery, but as his weird way of connecting. It didn't make them less annoying, but it made them easier to forgive. Looking back, that birthday taught me something I didn't expect. People mess up, even the ones who love you most. Dad's prank was thoughtless, but it came from a place of wanting to make me smile. And maybe I'd been too quick to assume the worst, too wrapped up in my own expectations to see his effort. We're all flawed, stumbling through love and apologies, trying to get it right. What do you think? Was Dad's prank a harmless joke gone wrong? Or did it cross a line? Should Emma have forgiven him so easily? Or was she right to call him out? Share your thoughts. Where do you stand on the balance between fun and feelings?